Welcome back. You're watching NewsX. We are trying to digest developments, and as I've been saying for the better part of 24 hours, I don't want to overplay them, but I don't want to underplay them. It is significant. We are treating it with the significance it deserves. It is a complex balancing act full of inconsistencies which we will have to absorb and handle. It is, ladies and gentlemen, what it is. If you study international theory and look at the two principal schools, the ones who tell you that the world needs to be dealt with not what it ought to be, but what it is, and the other that will tell you that the purpose of humanity is not to accept the world as it is, but to convert it into what it ought to be. You will be pushed into the direction that we are in the period of having to treat the world as it is. Here we are. This is the realism of today, and the realism of today is very rudely reminding us all that we have to figure out our own ways, and we have to find areas of consensus, confluence of interests, even with people whom fundamentally we can't trust. So, can you fundamentally trust Shahbaz Sharif and the Turkish President Erdogan, who are all sitting in Tianjin? No, you can't. Should we lock up and walk away from the LAC? No, you can't. But can you have a confluence of interests and present a picture, which is what has happened in Tianjin, that India stands for its principled self-interest. You can't, no one can, not the Chinese, but neither the Americans, tell us what to do and what not to do. That's not going to happen. So, you've had Prime Minister Modi walk that line, and it's a difficult line. I'm glad I wasn't part of the figuring out team in the Ministry of External Affairs on how to navigate this. But what's the line? The line is, first we are in Japan for 2 days, emphasizing to the Japanese that our principled disagreements with Washington and the Trump administration do not reflect upon our ongoing bilateral and multilateral cooperation with Japan, that our visit to China, which is in fact celebrating its victory over Japan in a couple of days, does not have a bearing to a long-standing economic, financial, strategic cooperation with Japan. To land, meet with Xi Jinping, but in the morning before meeting President Putin, also speak with Zelensky. To go to Tianjin, but not to go to Beijing for the military parade, where others will be for the next couple of days. To have the bilaterals that we wanted to have and needed to have, and not have the others. It's a difficult one, and we are navigating it. Now, where we come out of it is, well, the trillion-dollar, multi-trillion-dollar, the global economy at stake kind of question. Because if we have to accept that the Chinese economy is what it is, and the American economy is what it is, and geopolitics is what it is, then they'll also have to accept that India is what it is. It is not an ally. It is not aligned to a bloc. It stands for itself. It has its own mind, and it has its own self-interest, and we are also now the fourth largest economy and will be the third in a year or a year and a half. So, they'll also have to accept that we are also a reality. I think Donald Trump is having to accept that in the past couple of weeks, even though his rhetoric hasn't toned down. I think to some measure, and I take it with a pinch of salt, to some measure in what Xi Jinping has publicly stated about two historical civilizations, both having a historical responsibility, rather than just the Chinese civilization and everybody else, would give me some suggestion that it's been a little bit more respectful this time around. Let's open up this conversation. Ambassador Baswati Mukherjee joining us on this broadcast, who's been in these what would seem impossible diplomatic pickles for 40 years and is still here, can educate us on how we are navigating this and how we are doing. Hopefully, we are doing well. We are expecting the press conference of the MEA to start very, very shortly. Ajay Dua is with us as well. He's been the former Commerce Secretary of India. Professor Madan Nalapat stays on with us. And Martin Saares is joining us from Frankfurt in Germany. Ambassador Mukherjee, let me quickly come to you because we're expecting the MEA briefing to happen. Has it gone well? Have we walked the tightrope? And it's a complicated, messy tightrope for sure. If you're sitting in China, have we sort of done it just about right?
I think we've done it very well, Rishabh. And stopping over in Japan before going to China was a brilliant move. As indeed was a decision not to go for the military parade. At the same time, getting the bilaterals that we wanted, meeting Putin and meeting Zelensky, and having the one-to-one with Xi Jinping, which sends out a very powerful message in case the American administration and Trump want to hear it, which is that we stand for strategic alignment as suited to our core national interests, just as the Americans do. And that if they want to pick up the pieces, we are there to help them to pick up the pieces. If they want to throw the pieces of the strategic partnership into the garbage bin, we're ready for that too, because he's not going to be there forever. And we will recommend with whoever succeeds him. At the same time, as the fastest growing economy globally.
Okay, all right, ma'am. Sorry to interrupt you. The Foreign Secretary is speaking. Let's listen in.